Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss the concepts of micro and macroeconomics. I am Bharti BC from Vidyaniketan PU College, Tumkur. Modern economists have in the first place suggested two approaches of the study of economics. They are micro and macroeconomics. And traditionally, the subject matter of economics has been studied under two branches, that is what micro and macroeconomics, and these two terms, microeconomics and macroeconomics, were first used by Professor Ragnar Frisch of Oslo University of Sweden. Microeconomics is the traditional approach to the study of economics, and it was developed by economists, classical economists like David Ricardo, Alfred Marshall and A.C. Pigou. But the pioneer we call Alfred Marshall for microeconomics. The pioneers of microeconomics is Alfred Marshall. And macroeconomics is the modern approach to the study of economics, and it is of recent development. It became popular after the publication of J.M. Keynes' great book General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money in 1936. These are the two approaches to the study of economics and are discussed here. First we discuss about microeconomics. Thus, pioneers of microeconomics we call Alfred Marshall, and for macroeconomics we call J.M. Keynes. And these two terms about micro and macroeconomics is derived from Greek words, and micro means which is small and macro means which is big. Let us know the meaning of the term microeconomics and how it is when it has been defined. As I told earlier, the term micro has been derived from the Greek word micros, which means small, or you can also call it as millionth part, that is part in a million. Under microeconomics, we consider always individual consumer, a single firm, individual prices, wages, income, etc. It is almost like looking at the economy through a microscope. How can we define this? We can define microeconomic like this: the study of the economic behavior of individual agents such as particular price, particular demand, supply, individual savings, etc. is called microeconomics. In microeconomics, the spending of income in the satisfaction of different wants by a consumer, allocation of limited resources by a producer, determination of price by a firm or an industry, income of a person, find his occupation are some of the subject matter of economics. Overall, we can say it concentrates on individuality. The central problem of microeconomics is the problem of allocation of resources and the problem of price determination. That is why this is also termed as price theory. So, under microeconomics, instead of considering the forest as a whole, here we consider a tree, not forest. And here the demand and supply are considered as tools of microeconomics analysis. Now, let us know what are the uses of this microeconomics. Microeconomics approach has got great practical significance and also a significant role in economic analysis. The following points explains the importance of microeconomics. The first importance is allocation of resources. Allocation of resources. Microeconomics studies the behavior of an individual consumer or a firm in a particular situation. We know that resources are scarce Thus, microeconomics helps in proper allocation and utilization of these resources to produce various types of goods and services. And the second importance is price determination. Microeconomics makes a study of the way in which the price of each commodity is determined through demand and supply. Determination of equilibrium price comes under the scope of microeconomics. And third importance is optimum utilization of resources. Microeconomics explains the condition of efficiency in both production and consumption and distribution from the optimum level. Here optimum means the best, maximum best level, not completely even though it is reducing. And the fourth importance is market structure. Microeconomics not only analyze economic conditions but also studies the social needs under different market conditions. We know that we can classify market on the basis of from the producer point of view and consumer point of view. So, here we discuss how a producer behaves in the different market structure, different market conditions like monopoly, duopoly and oligopoly, etc. And next importance is analysis of tax policy. Microeconomics helps the government in fixing the rate and the type of tax as well as the amount of tax to be charged to the buyer and to the seller. It is also to understand the consequences of taxation. It helps us also to understand the consequences of taxation. Microeconomics, another use we can say, helps in formulation of planning. Microeconomics helps in formulation of economic policy to solve the basic problems of what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. All these problems, to get a solution, proper planning is necessary. And the knowledge can be gained only by studying microeconomics. Microeconomics thus helps in to get the solution for these economic problems. See, after knowing these uses, we will move towards limitations. Any coin has got two faces. In the same way, any approach has got its own uses and its own limitations. Now, let us see the limitations of microeconomics. Microeconomics, like any other social sciences, does not provide ready-made solutions to practical problems. It provides only tools and techniques for solving economic problems. Microeconomics has certain limitations which restricts its applicability. Most of the limitations of microeconomics arise from the assumptions on which they are based. Let us discuss one by one. First one is unrealistic assumptions. Microeconomics is based on unrealistic assumption. Microeconomics assumes that all other things being constant. Henceforth, when you go learn about many economic theories, often you will be hearing this term, other things being constant. Otherwise, you may hear other things remaining constant, or it is also called as other things kept constant. Remaining constant, being constant, same thing. So, here other things are nothing but the factors which influence economic activity or any economic situation we are discussing. So, but actually it is not so. When for the simplicity sake of study we assume that other things being constant, assumptions, we are assuming it, we are just making a false assumption, keeping all other things. What happens if this changes to will be the result? That is what we are going to study, make a study in microeconomics. But practically it is not possible. We know that all economic variables are subject to change. Economic variable means, the variable means itself it keeps varying, changing. Economic variable means economic concepts what we consider like price, demand, supply savings, all these we know that whether it is a single person's or a whole economy, they keeps changing. So, first limitation of microeconomics is unrealistic assumption. The second one is wrong assumption of full employment. Microeconomics is based on the assumption of full employment. That is, full employment means here not employment general level terminology we are telling. Here employment means we are utilizing the including human resources, other resources are we are using complete level at the best level. That is what we assume and we proceed the theory, but in practical world this is not possible. It assumes that there will be full employment in the economy, but this is wrong assumption. That is why famous economist James Keynes says, to assume full employment is to assume our difficulties away. The third limitation of microeconomics is neglect of macroeconomics. Microeconomics does not give a correct and proper picture of the working of the economy since it concentrates individual. It may not be useful to understand the whole economy. The whole economic system if you want to understand means microeconomics is not feasible one. The knowledge of economy as a whole is very important to the people. Some of the current problems like unemployment, cyclical fluctuations, these are all they are beyond the study of microeconomics. That is why the fourth last limitation we call narrow scope. So, here the study area under microeconomics is very limited. So, the certain economic problems which cannot be analyzed under microeconomics through microeconomics. Limited scope. Narrow scope means nothing but limited scope. That means here we study the limited area. The study area under microeconomics is very simple. It studies the individual savings but not the economy saving level. It studies the one single producer profit level or one industry profit level but not whole economy. It does not study the problems like fiscal policy, monetary policy, inflation, unemployment, etc., which are all outside its scope. After knowing about its limitation, let us come to know about macroeconomics and the differences between macroeconomics. We know that macroeconomics studies the economy as a whole. Macroeconomics studies the economy as a whole. It studies over the whole country's economic activities. That is the where difference lies. The first one, the study of the behavior under microeconomics is individual economic unit, whereas under macroeconomics it studies the aggregate behavior of the economy. Since it concentrates on individual economic units and price determination in an industry, the microeconomics is also called as price theory. But macroeconomics is known as income and employment theory since it concentrates on national income of the economy, not individual income. In microeconomics, it studies the partial equilibrium in the economy. That is, how an industry reaches its equilibrium point, whether it is making profit or making loss, what are the reasons for it. All this we study, that is partial study. We are not concentrating on the whole economy, whereas macroeconomics studies the general equilibrium in the economy. Since its microeconomics concentrate partial part of the economy, so it is more unrealistic study since it is also based on assumption like other things being equal, which is not real. Economy, every economics will be a dynamic one, it keeps changes daily. And macroeconomics is more realistic study and used to solve several economic problems, just now as I said, like problems like inflation, unemployment, decreasing development economic development of the country, like this. Students, in spite of all these differences, definitely we can come to conclusion that knowledge of micro and macroeconomics is essential for any government, policy maker or an economist. Neither microeconomics is great nor macroeconomics is great. Both has got its own significance in the study of economics. Thank you. If you have any doubts, you are welcome to ask.